That means Rich needs to show up to a tournament.
Hey guys, Stephen here again for another streamed game for you. So this game, I'm up against the one and only Mr. Richard Kilton. So top Orc player in the ITC. I think was currently ranked #1 for the Orc player for a long time. I think he's just been overtaken by somebody else. So he's in position #2, but basically we're looking at somebody here that is a fantastic Orc player, absolute veteran, and somebody that I'm really looking forward to playing against. Richard is also going to be one of my co-coaches for tomorrow, and it's going to be helping me out on the masterclass here in TimpCon, so really looking forward to that tomorrow, which is held in Utah. And then both myself and Rich are going to be playing in SoCal in a couple of, basically next weekend. So really excited to play this game against Rich. I'm running exactly the same Ultramarines list as before. We're using Search and Destroy mission again. We're doing mission number 4, what's yours is mine, so there's 5 objectives. And Rich won the roll-off to pick sides. I then chose to go second. So Rich is setting up first now. He's setting up his entire army. And then I'll be setting up to go next. So ignore where my army is at the moment. That will be moved. Rich's army, he's got like 3 smasher guns, 15 looters, 90 boys, 80 grots. A war boss on bike, another war boss, 3 weird boys. This is actually good knowledge from me. The shock attack, souped up shocker. I think he's got another super shock attack gun. He's got some crazy character pain boy dude he told me about. Grot Snick, I want to say. Yeah, I think that's Rich's list. I'm going to be going for Reaper, because those Orcs are going to be coming at me, and also I'm going to go for Butcher's build because he's got lots of different units, and then I'm probably going to decide shortly on my third secondary. I'm thinking I'm going to go for ground control, but we'll see. I'll probably spend 1 CP on a Warlord trait so that I can put another unit in the Tactical Doctor in. So I'm probably going to go for that. So I can, my lieutenant can basically pick a unit and say, hey, you guys are in Tactical Doctor in for the turn, which is pretty cool. Yeah, so that's that. So we're going to head over now to the stream, and obviously I'm going to leave you in the capable hands of my referees and shoutcasters that are here. These are guys that are either on the Mentorship Program for VT, so we've got Jared, we've got Jonah, who is going to be the referee on Sunday for the RTT that we're playing. We've also got Brian from Dice, and yeah. Guys, I'll leave you in the capable hands there. If you've got any questions, please put it in the chat. This is a play test, so we might do go-backs, and we'll keep this game pretty casual. We'll probably get some things wrong because we're testing out some new units. So, look, guys, that's exactly what play testing is all about. And hopefully we'll have a really, really good game for you to see how, the Ultramarines face off against the Orcs. I played the Orcs yesterday. Probably not quite an optimized list as the one Richard's playing, and somebody slightly newer to the game than Rich, and it went pretty well for me going first, so I chose to go second to kind of put myself on the back foot to see how that goes. So yeah, hopefully you guys can see this okay. Please, if you can make a comment in the chat, then I can hopefully give me some feedback if you guys can see okay. I feel like just quickly, guys, is the main camera frozen? If you could let me know, because I can try and fix that. Brian, sorry, I think this camera's frozen. So when I go on OBS, it's frozen. Okay. And then when we can reset it. Okay. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. He's our
So you have no snipers in your list? Now, isn't there a sniper strat?
I don't know. That's intercessors.
Only for intercessors.
Can we get a little bit more room over here by chance? Can we move some of the Apox boxes?
I did not put them there. I think they just didn't know where to put them.
Oh, that sounds right. That sounds right.
Almost. Halfway there.
Nicole, we're gonna hand that to you.
Let me know when we need to be.
Good. Two more degrees. Yeah.
Yeah, you're good. Good.
Now we're cooking with fire.
I got maybe like 2.5.
You know, you try to be accurate with these guys, and this is what you get.
This is my last. SoCal will be my last tournament with the small bases. So Thomas, my buddy Thomas, he said, "Dude, you can switch," and I go, "I have to. That's the way I play. I'm a competitive dude. I feel like I'm taking advantage, but I go, I'm giving myself."
I'm gonna take notes on how to do this, so if I end up casting the rudder.
Oh, we should.
So.
I mean, it's not going to affect my deployment very much. So let's play two.
Huh?
Sneaking, it was like a chaos ball right there.
Like, yeah, I think that's some intros and stuff, so they want to Richard.
Okay, great. Okay, so you pick Reapers.
I don't know how to work that.
Ground control. You pick. Both compound. I don't have a lot of options against you. Now these guys give up let's go.
All right, guys, welcome back to the second round of live play here at the TimpCon. You got Jared Renlor along, part of the VT team, and Jonah.
Evening, guys.
Hey, we've got a game brought to you by Paragon City Games and Vanguard Tactics between Steven and Rich. Rich playing Orks and Steven's playing his Ultras again, getting some testing in with that list he wants to take down to SoCal here pretty soon.
I think he's in for a tough fight. Rich has been playing Orks probably ever since they came out, and unfortunately, he just got dethroned as the top Ork player in the current season. So
yeah,
I know he's itching to get back on top.
You know, it's not going to take much, I don't think, though. These quality players, they keep trading for first, and it's just whoever had the most recent big tournament and grab those couple of last points to push them over. So the boys are talking about secondaries and looking at deployment types and setting up here, and they're going to be figuring out, looks like they're placing objectives right now. So we get you what ITC mission and the deployment here pretty soon.
So I think it's the same deployment as the last map.
So it's going to be search and destroy. So that's going to give them a 9-inch circle around the side, and then basically table quarters in what is Steven's right hand corner there, and then the far left where the repulsors are sitting right now. And Steve, what mission are you guys playing? All right, so what's yours is mine. This is 5 objectives. So the center objective gets placed, and then then the players each place 2.
One in your deployment zone and one in your opponent's deployment zone.
And they've got to stay more than 12 inches away from another objective and 6 inches away from the board edge. And the bonus objective is holding both of the objectives that you have placed on the board.
That is correct. And it looks like Rich is setting up to be able to control maybe both the center and his objective he places in Steven's deployment.
Yeah, I really kind of look forward to seeing how Rich is going to trickle control his board, simply because that's the strength of Orks, right?
Oh,
They've
yeah.
got a number of bodies, a weight of bodies to push forward and do some really good board control and make those Ultramarines use those volumes of shot to do some work.
It's slipping again. We're losing the top part of Steven's board. Okay.
That might be because of the wobbliness in general. All right, so we're heading over to the chat. Guys, if you have any questions for either the guys playing the game or the casters here or just in general, go ahead and put them into the chat. Make sure to do a @Vanguard Tactics so that highlights up and we can see your questions better. Welcome to everybody. If you want to say hi, do so as well. We'll give you a shout out.
It's way too high now, but cool.
I'll probably slip on us. And I know Steven's going to be rolling his amazing blue metal dice again from d6dice.com. I don't like the blue because it doesn't match my purple gray knights.
Oh.
But I do use those d6 dice. The black and green ones are spot on unless they hate me, and then it's all 2s, no 1s. But he's got some d12s that are amazing for wound counters. Because most things are in multiples of 12s. Definitely go check it out.
Yeah, Jonah, between the two games, the one earlier and this one, I did get a chance to go roll those dice that Steven has. Man, are they nice in the hand. And so until I go to try to roll aggressor wound numbers, they'll probably work just fine.
They're nice for anything that doesn't quite be too much firepower. Normal Stormbolter shots out of a 4-man squad fit nice and easily in your hands. Anything like
Jonah, if I didn't know
that,
any better, I think that you just said that my aggressors have too much firepower.
Well, of course, because Grey Knights just have Stormbolters, and that's our best gun. So come on now. Anything that's Primaris is better. So this is like a casual game that will be the most competitive casual game you'll probably ever see. It's 2 very talented players just hanging out, having fun, getting ready for the masterclass that Vanguard Tactics is hosting tomorrow.
Yeah, we are sitting here at TimpCon here in
downtown Provo, Utah.
Yeah, and we've got a booth set up here with Paragon City Games, and they're attracting some attention and doing a live demonstration, live play, and people can walk up. You're going to see some people enter the frame from time to time, and they're just checking out the game and learning about 40K. It is important, guys, that we spread out that 40K love and that interest of our hobby so that we have new people coming in all the time. And one way is getting out to cons and just having people see the game being played.
It's good coverage for game stores because we all, at least here in the States, we all go to game stores to play. So it's a good way for stores to get a lot of coverage.
All right, Steven, why don't you come over here and talk to us for a second?
Yep.
And, mate, what did you choose for your secondaries?
So I took Ground Control, I took Reaper, and I took Butcher's Bill.
All right.
And Rich went for Old School. He went for Gangbusters. Did you go for Gangbusters?
I went gangbusters. Did I go old school?
You did, yeah. And Recon. Yeah. Reaper.
So it's the reason why the Space Wolves like engaged on.
All right, so covering those guys. So Steven has chosen his 3 secondaries for the ITC Secondaries of ground control. So he's going to be looking at the end of the game to be holding objectives with units at the very end of the game. He'll get 1 CP, or 1 BP rather, per objective that he controls at the end of the game. Butcher's Bill is killing 2 units in a turn. Now, don't let that be mistaken. He can actually kill 2 units in his turn and in Rich's turn, potentially, especially with that Overwatch that he can push out. So Rich has got to be careful not to feed him extra CP or VPs fast against that Butcher's Bill. And, of course, topping out with Reaper because killing boys is the name of the game here.
You've got enough firepower for every orc. Hopefully. That's the idea. So Rich is going with old school. I think it's a fairly standard one for him. Every time I've played him, he's chosen that. He's got gangbusters, and of course, I think Steven's army is set up that most opponents will be choosing that one. He's got enough squads that meet those criterias. And then finishing number 3 with Recon. So it's going to be interesting to see what kind of board presence it's going to look like after turn 1.
Yeah, and that is 2 Repulsor Executioners and 1 Repulsor that is on Steven's board there. It looks to be the far right, as you guys are looking at it on the camera, is the Repulsor, and the 2 middle are the Executioners.
You know, so if you're looking at Rich's orc list, and you're trying to compare it to other meta orc lists that you may see online or even run into yourself, one thing that I found out is Rich plays his own game, and he won't say that something's bad. He just necessarily won't run it. So if you're looking for Ludas, they may not be in his list, and he's designed it to cover that weakness or cover that area with something else.
Yeah, but I spent 1 on a warlord trait. I'm down to 6.
Yeah, so Steven's list is 2 a Spearhead and a Vanguard, and Calgar, giving him a rounding out of 7. He spent 1 extra CP on an extra Warlord trait, so he's going to start the game with 6. And here in a second, I'm going to bug Rich and see what he's got for CP. You're going to start the game with 16. All right.
Are you looking for a signature or what? No, I was just wondering if you guys had any differences.
All right, so yeah, man, he's got a lot of CP to fuel into those boys, jumping them across the board, double shooting, double fighting.
It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I'm stoked to watch this.
I was just gonna walk and then I realized that I didn't want to carry that many.
Yeah, that sounds about right on the 80 Gretchen. He plays on movement trays for a reason. You'll see that during the course of the game as he starts moving stuff, movement trays come off.
No snipers, right?
No, yeah, we're gonna block up that back portion. We're gonna have the balcony. And it's gonna be slightly quieter and more.
So guys, as we get started here and Rich finishes out his deployment, mind you guys to hit that like button and the subscribe and the bell notification, as we are here down at the TimpCon with Paragon City Games. Vanguard Tactics is going to be putting on a masterclass tomorrow, and there will be streams available from time to time. So get those notifications and make sure to subscribe and hit that bell notification.
Yep, and I will be streaming tomorrow. I'm sure I'll have another partner sometime. It's going to be interesting because Vanguard Tactics has brought a lot of their people down for us. Super excited. It's a great opportunity for our meta.
Yeah, I flew in. My arms are pretty tired, Jonah. Flew in all the way from Alaska.
That's a long flight.
Yeah, a little bit.
Is it colder up there?
Actually, no, it's not very much colder right now. It's like, if it's clear days, it's like 30 degrees, so it's kind of refreshing to get off the plane here in Utah and be able to step outside and go, oh man, this is comfortable. Of course, everybody else is putting on winter jackets and stuff like that, and I was like,
I grew up in Montana, so I'll wear shorts until it's like -degrees out here, so I don't really like the heat, but I love the fall and the winter here. I don't know why I moved to a desert.
Well, guys, if you are in the chat and you want to ask a question, make sure to hit at Vanguard Tactics so that pops up and we can see that moving into the game. From time to time, we're going to have to bump that camera. It's giving us some
hard today.
It's been giving us some trouble today.
They all have marks on the back of
Oh, just to
and they have on the underside.
So we're just addressing the camera issues right now. We're aware. Yeah, we're aware it keeps slipping down on us.
It wasn't something as bad when we had it on the.
No, it wasn't.
Oh, I know why. Yeah. So I'll probably just put it back on the thing. So it doesn't. Yeah.
All right, so stand by as we try to adjust that camera, guys.
We tried
Hopefully it's not
something
gonna be
new.
terribly shaky.
Didn't work for us. So we're going back to the way that we had it earlier.
So I'm ready. Anybody?
3-color minimum.
It'll
pop up in a
oh, Brian.
Okay. We're good.
And it sounds like they're both deployed here now. So Cameron fixing here to come. And looks like Steven's trying to decide what's going on here. And how to counter deploy into that.
That's so many bodies.
For the Evil Sons, they move 6, then they advance to D6 +1. And then they charge.
I do believe the Orks are ready for a crump in here. I mean, every single one of those last boys is ready to go.
You know, I didn't think that Ork could deploy without saying "wah" at least once and really loud.
Oh, just wait.
Is Rich
Just
actually
wait.
is Rich actually an Ork player without yelling "wah"?
The time will come.
Okay, all right. I've
Just
been
wait.
promised. I've been promised
during
at least
the middle
one
of the
wah.
round when something really good happens.
Fair enough.
And
Okay.
it's really loud. You guys at home will probably understand.
Rich, it's -1 VP if you do not at least yell "wah" once during this game. Okay.
Tell me don't tell me if I can go up or down. Perfect. Yep. I love your intent.
Down. Now tilt, rotate away from you.
That's not going to work.
A little bit more. It's still a little cattywampus there, Brian.
So the table, from the way I'm looking at it, is slanting down this way.
So this way.
It's from the base. It's from the base. Buddy, I'm an Ork player. I'm generous with cover. Because I want it. No, we have to go Mr. Box here.
That's worse.
Oh, because his base isn't touching?
Here, we're gonna move some stuff around so that Brian can see the camera as he's adjusting it. Probably the best way to go. I certainly hope most of you are not motion sick.
And if you are, we apologize. I mean,
I really wish I had that for. See, now this is 16.
Here we go, Rich.
Rich, we might even be able to charge yours on the fly too.
Put it in there when I'm
Yeah.
doing other stuff, and we'll see how it's doing when I'm.
So any good orc player doesn't leave home without the dice app. Jared, what do you think?
Down just a little bit. That's nice and level now, Brian. Sweet.
I like it.
All right.
Thanks,
There
Brian.
we go.
You're
Yay,
amazing.
Brian.
Go, Brian.
All right, so we're going to check chat, see if there's any questions. All right, guys, chat, sound off. Where are you guys all from? Where are you guys coming in from? Let me see where you guys are coming in from.
Thanks. We'll let Brian know he's amazing because he needs more confirmation of that.
Dude, you're awesome. So, but we're good, right?
I know earlier we had somebody sound in from South Africa.
I guess Steve said he was going to let me borrow his mic. I'm like,
Colorado Springs, so you're next door, just a couple hours away.
Yeah, nice. And Chaos XD from Florida. Awesome. Man, you're burning a midnight oil. We're getting close to it.
Germany, UK,
Newcastle.
Australia.
Awesome.
Well, welcome to
Australia's
TimpCon.
in the future.
I know.
Yeah.
Welcome to TimpCon in beautiful downtown Provo, Utah.
because we're just playing right here, right?
We have a local. You should come down and join us tomorrow.
You're that close and you're not here? Man, you need to come say hi.
But we're glad you're with us. We're glad everybody's with us today.
Brohammer territory. Yeah?
Okay, so all of these, yeah. See,
Jacksonville, Florida. Awesome.
all these different ways. Almost all. So how do you know him?
I know him
Offshore sounds a little bit lonely if you're offshore.
Ah,
Oh, man. I'm guessing he's probably out on either a boat or an oil rig. Man.
Yep.
Oh, there we go. There's an Arkansas
Wonderful.
and Little Rock. I like fishing around Little Rock. I've gone a couple of different times. It's pretty nice.
I've only gone fishing in Montana, my friend.
oh, that's awesome.
It's one of the best places I think to go fishing.
Up north.
Yo, we got to get you up to Alaska then, bud.
I would love to go.
To put you onto some 20 to 30 inch rainbow.
My stepfather, not stepfather, father-in-law, went up and used to go fishing for salmon and halibut.
Yeah.
So we're just down at the Utah Valley Convention Center down here in downtown Provo. Look up TimpCon. It's a local gaming convention, mainly for board games, but again, like Jared said earlier, it's a really good way to get new blood into the hobby.
All right, so we have gotten a pass on the seas, and the sportsmanship for making sure that they're discussing what their terrain is, clarifying any rules, line of sight, and we are heading into first term. It looks like
he went for cover,
all right,
and
so
he gets one back for the turn. Battle round.
yeah, so
My
for the battle
apologies for
round,
that
so
battle round.
Steven is going to be down to 5 at this point.
Some of the great nights and
Probably really worth it. Like that pushes most of his army to a 2-up armor save, and the Orks with their very few options to go to -2.
Yep.
It's going to be really beneficial, I think.
And I think Steven was lucky to get one of those refunded early on in the round, too.
It's always nice to get those back.
Especially early on, it gives you a lot more flexibility in what you're choosing to do.
Wait, what?
There we go.
There we go. There we
There's
go.
one.
I knew it.
What?
And
Yeah.
if you think that's the one we're waiting for, stay tuned.
Yes. Sorry.
Rich, there's nothing mini about you.
Most people put a decimal in there, and I'm like,
Yeah, Rich, I think you could paint your skin green and cosplay a war boss over there.
Let's not give him ideas. It is October.
Doesn't sound like I needed to give him the idea.
He's probably already had it for years.
yeah.
I mean, it is Orktober. I will apologize.
Yeah.
I'll get my month straight.
And the guy.
Good. My dice app's staying open for it.
It's funnier.
It looks like Steven's just doing his little intro.
I mean,
And guys, if you can't make it over to the master class that's going to be held tomorrow, there is a free ITC course provided by Vanguard Tactics at vanguardtactics.com. You can check that out. There's a free video course that walks you through how to be a better ITC player, as well as signing up for the mentorship as well on that page. You go to vanguardtactics.com and check it out.
So there was a question on the chat about another SoCal prep game. It's a game getting ready for the master class. It also serves as a prep game for SoCal. So yes, we here in Utah send some of a bunch of players down, and anything I can do as a TO to help them get ready, run an event for them, just so they're ready to go.
So that is not a, that is a CP to do that?
Awesome. So Rich is doing something that a lot of players could do more of, and that is ask questions, Jonah. He's asking questions that are going to be pertinent to his motion on the board, because he's got that capability of jumping around on the board with his shamans. He's wanting to know how Aspect Scan is working, and Steven is making sure to explain it as thoroughly as Rich needs it so that he's satisfied with that. And that's that great sportsmanship that Steven pushes forward towards and bringing out in the game. So it might get loud here, guys. They are doing some giveaways here at TimpCon for some of the board games.
As a TO, that just makes me happy. Two competitors having a good conversation, so everything is as expected. So both of them are making informed decisions, and there's going to be little need to call me on over.
Yeah, Jonah is the impartial judge today, so if there are any questions that the players need to settle that they can't settle between the two of themselves, possibly like a line of sight, like we saw earlier today, Jonah, then he can just pop over and answer that question. And thank you very much, Jonah.
It's kind of what I do. I love supporting the hobby, and unfortunately, people need to run events and be available to have successful events. And
Guys, I have a joke for you.
Oh no.
How do cell phones get around? How do they get around?
they're Roman.
Ryan, how do cell phones get around?
They're mobile. Close. Why do computers need insurance?
Why, Brian, do computers need insurance?
In case the hard drive crashes.
Oh. You know, I'm a dad, and those jokes are borderline, buddy.
I'm still not going to apologize for bringing the Laffy Taffy on over, but we should probably take him away from Brian on that.
Yeah, he's reading from Laffy Taffies over here, guys.
All right, we've got a copy of Queen Domino from Good Cafe.
Oh, moving that many boys.
Beautiful.
You know, that's another thing to think about. You know, is how well you can physically play an army. Like, it's one thing to play an army and be mentally as good as either one of these boys, but it takes an extra bit of stamina and the amount of play time that it takes to know how to move that many models that fast on a consistent basis every single game and get to 6 turns.
All right, last one tonight.
So again, more questions on Rich's part. Just double checking threat ranges as he's ready to finish movement on what I believe is his warlord.
Joseph Newell.
And again, good conversation being had over there. Just making sure both players are aware of what's going on.
All right, that's it for tonight.
For those of you that have just joined us, make sure that you're hitting that like button and subscribing and clicking the notification for future live casts and or videos from Vanguard Tactics. But also, if you've got any questions, do an @Vanguard Tactics here in the chat, and we'll do our best to get those questions answered for you guys. Oh no, Orks down, Orks down.
Ork down.
They're tough. If they don't sit, that's it. That's right.
Oh.
All the models.
Yeah.
Hold on. Where's the rep?
It really is a SoCal training game then, isn't it?
Again, I don't envy an Ork player. But playing Rich is a joy because he makes sure that you're aware of everything that he does as he's doing it. So there's going to be no gotcha moments in his games.
Green Tide. So the question right now that Steven is asking Rich is about Green Tide and whether or not if he has an effect on the boys and then Green Tides them, do those effects persist through and is getting cleared through right now. And as per the FAQ, if I'm not mistaken, Jonah, they did clarify that if you bring a unit off the board and then back onto the board in any way, shape, or form, that they lose those buffs.
So I'm going to say yes and no. The FAQ said, I believe you keep them, but Green Tide has a caveat to their statement. It is considered to be a new unit.
Excellent.
As clarified by
new
Rich.
Unit. Excellent. Thank you
So
for that
if you have any buffs on the old unit and you Green Tide them, it's a completely new unit.
You're playing against 200 models. You're going to get repurposed. Yes.
And then a follow-up question then, if he kills, say, 10 out of the 20-man unit or even
Still counts for
19 out
Reaper.
of it, he will get those points for Reaper when it comes in. And Rich heartily
He
saying
should be worried about
200
scoring
models. Exactly, 200 models on this list.
More
So
drops running. To the question of is there a time limit return? No. So what we do is there's a death clock. So each player has a set amount of time. If you, in effect, run out of time, you're considered to be clocked. All you can do is make armor saves. No fighting, no shooting, no other rolls than an armor save. Can't move, but the game continues on because your opponent still has time.
Right, and it's a great system because you come to the table with 2,000 points. I come to the table with 2,000 points, Jonah, and we have equal resources. And time is one of those resources, right? You're going to get to make choices with your time, you make rolls with your time, and play your turns with your time, and then I'm going to get to play with my time. So it's needed. Time clocks are definitely, especially at the higher calibers, needed.
So, Anthony, just reading your comments about being confident. As I stated earlier, Rich has been playing Orks for years, almost longer than I've been alive. Barely. I've been alive barely longer. He's very confident in what he does, and if you see the squares, those are magnetic movement trays, and he tries to keep his models on those as long as possible. It just helps speed up his turn in the movement phase, because with 200 models, you're going to lose time in the movement phase. Now we come to the fun part. Let's see what goes where. Or what wants extra attacks. Looks like he's jumping some Ludas. On the Ludas. Looks like Steven's playing to his strengths again, choosing a corner that he's just going to take and hold.
Yeah, and Steven does this pretty well with deploying to go second. You notice he didn't try to seize.
Nope, he passed on that.
He made the choice to stay in cover and be ready to play his game come bottom of turn one.
Bottom of turn.
Because that does provide a lot of good things in ITC, in that now, because you were trying to get those primary objective point, or the primary VPs of kill more, hold more, going second tells you exactly what you need to do in your turn to be able to make those points. And it is victory points. It's the name of the game.
And there might be an advantage to knowing exactly I need to kill 4. Can't do it. I'm going to mitigate my losses on that.
Jonah, we're seeing these right here. He's rolling his variables for his Ludas, and he just got strength 10 and 5 shots. Or he's going to get 5 shots. Which is, his shot can't be that high per model, so... What was his variable shot count?
He got 5 shots.
Yep.
Ooh, man, oh man.
And...
I'm pretty sure it's probably because of line of sight issues that you can only get 5 shots off.
Yep.
In total.
And it is, because, again, Steven deployed to mitigate the number of shots coming in at him.
All right. So some wounds come in.
Now I'm going to fire my second, so this guy can fire again.
So I'm gonna probably do that. I'm gonna fire the normal shot. Here's his strength.
Oh, so that was a shock attack gun, not the Ludas that fired first. Those shock attack guns are brutal. They can definitely put in some work, especially if they're rolling high enough. They're going to get those mortal wounds, and just like Haywire, kind of push through a lot of those toughness rolls and save rolls, and really put hurt on that armor. Which dice? And while those repulsor executioners have a lot of volume of fire, Jonah, they are really carrying what's going to be really the potent thing against this orc list, and that's those aggressors.
Yep.
Those aggressors are going to be the workhorse, I do believe, in this game. I could get proven wrong, but I really do think that they're going to end up being what pushes things forward.
Looks like he's spending his CP.
All right. 2 CP?
Yep,
right.
so 2 CP to fire again with his souped up shock attack.
And Steven is already he only gets to regen CP for his own with Calgar's rerolls. So,
And he already got his one for the battle round. Anyway, so.
With this game,
Yes.
and I'm
I play a lot. I actually have this set here with
about
me.
cards. I play that.
Yep.
5 more wounds going into that.
man, oh man, he's trying. He's
You
too.
got it.
Go ahead and deploy. 57-22 for that. They have credits.
So it doesn't look like it blew up, but they're coming out.
I do not like the look that's on Steven's face right now. He's off camera. Oh no, man, oh man. 2 ones. You know, Steven jokes about his rolls quite a bit, but it's always painful when it happens to something that is as expensive as an aggressor. So,
And he lost 2 of them, too.
he lost 2 of them.
That's huge.
I'm gonna message them and be like, I will pay you an extra 25%.
All right, so you saw this time get switched over while he makes the choice of how he's going to place them and move forward with the aggressors coming out of that repulsor.
Now they're just checking line of sight so he can continue to deploy safely.
Yeah, he does not want to put those boys out into line of fire of those Ludas that still have yet to shoot.
Unfortunately, high speed, I don't think our setup allows us to zoom in on the dice very well. It's a good suggestion, which I will take back to Brian, and we'll see what we can do. So he suggested to send a camera on the dice. I'm not sure we can.
Yeah, and that is going to be Rich's first victory point as well for old school, getting that first kill and first turn, first blood.
Yep.
So I got a kill.
This is intense.
And that looks like that's what he's got.
So he's going to hold, he's going to kill.
Hold on, wait. One smash gun can see you.
Oh no, smasher gun coming in.
48. He's out of range. Okay, your turn.
Check that, not in range.
All right. So Rich, can you come talk to us for a second?
Yeah, sure.
Awesome. So
Stevie,
Rich,
go ahead.
Rich is going to come. Rich is going to come over and hey, Rich.
Hey guys,
Welcome over to the microphone.
it's great to be on the microphone.
Hey, so talk to us about that first turn. What was kind of the goal, and what did you end up getting to accomplish?
So I was hoping, my shock attacks might go crazy and roll an 11 on their strength. They didn't, so I was disappointed they only killed one.
Disappointed. Chat, disappointed that he only killed one repulsor executioner in turn 1. Sir, you are a brazen
Orks
man.
believe that they're lucky, and they are.
I will give you that, sir. So I have you down right now as 1 point for your old school, and you have killed and you hold 1 for your primaries this turn, correct?
That's correct.
Excellent.
He's going to do a lot of damage to me, but the boys are all in the force field, and they're all in the pain void. I'll probably lose a lot of models on this turn. Luckily, he can't do his aggressor shenanigans on turn 1. Because, he can do it with 1 unit, I think.
Yeah, watch out for that stratagem.
And that's
he can
okay.
push that out and get that done.
And if he does,
so,
I'll live with it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, excellent. Well, thanks for coming over
Thank
and
you.
saying
You guys
hi.
are great.
Yeah. All right. So as we get movement coming in with the Ultramarines and some visitors from some
youngins,
some from the curious patrons here at the TimpCon, which is located here in Provo, Utah. come on down to the convention center and join us. We're going to be here all weekend. And Sunday, what's happening on Sunday, Jonah?
So Sunday, I have the privilege of hosting an RTT for anybody who is in the area. We're going to be up at Paragon City Games in Draper. Sign-ups start at 9. I'd like to have dice rolling at 10 o'clock. Standard 2,000 points. Battle Brothers list, match the 3 detachments.
Playing ITC missions?
ITC missions.
Excellent.
And for the first time, I'm going to have a co-judge with me. And Steven's agreed to just help out on the judging part. So.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. So, guys, come on down to Paragon City Games on Sunday if you want to join that RTT. We're trying to shoot for, it's a cap of 30 people. So if we hit that cap, that'd be awesome.
We'll fill the store at 30 people. We've measured it, and I'd like to hit it. I'd like to buy out their store for a day.
That'd be exciting.
And now we have the one of the other local TOs here, just trying to tell Steven about how Rich's dice react to the orc philosophy of we believe. And if those two don't play every week, something's wrong.
No, this is my life. I don't get to play. You know how you test the dice? You're like, test this Swiss concept. Kind of like a balance. Just whatever they have to roll. You can't do it.
All right. Let's take a look at the chat and see if we've got any new questions or some new stuff. Here.
I don't think it's being streamed anywhere else. This is Steven's YouTube page. Is this part of Vanguard Tactics?
Yeah, this is.
Sure.
Yeah, this is. We're streaming live to YouTube currently on Vanguard Tactics, and no, it's not being broadcasted anywhere else currently. But what's great about this is you can go back and watch through it as well.
He comes back to life. The next turn, I go, well.
So if you want to catch any of the other streams that are going to happen this weekend with the masterclass and potentially with maybe some of the RTT action here on Sunday, make sure to smash that subscribe and the bell icon and hit the like for this video, and so other people can see it. Share it as well on any social media platform that you might be a part of. And let's get some questions in going. You got questions for Steven or for Rich? Just leave them in there, and we'll get them when next time we can grab their hold of their ear.
We're slipping again.
So a reminder of the score currently going into the bottom of turn 1. Rich has a 3-point lead. He managed to get a kill and a hold for primary. And he got 1 secondary with his old school for first strike.
And we're working on getting the camera tilted up just a little bit more again for you guys. The actual, yeah. That's good. Thank you.
Great.
Got the magic touch.
Checking ranges. It's going to be interesting this turn for Steven, how well you can react to that.
Yeah, Steven, he talks a lot about pace of the game in the coaching courses in the mentorship, where he talks about not letting your opponent dictate how fast you need to play the game. So it'll be interesting to see how he's going to react to this and see how he's going to function going forward. He needs to be able to put some pressure back, but he can also move forward pretty hard.
He spent on tremor shell.
Okay, so he's tremor shelling off of the Thunderfire cannon again.
On the stream, just tell them, make sure people out there know, especially orc players, your opponent has the tremor shell at the beginning of the phase.
Yeah, and Rich does bring up a good point. When it's the beginning of the shooting phase, you can activate for 1 CP tremor shells, and any Thunderfire cannon that shoots, or the Thunderfire cannon that you nominate for the turn in that phase, can shoot, and when it hits, if it hits, it does not have to wound. If it hits, that unit is then moving at half speed, advancing half, and charging half distance. So when you combine that with, say, the -2 on the repulsor, you're starting to make a really long charge and have to make a really long charge. So if one of those boys units gets jumped in, that's, looking at a pretty long charge.
Not that a 9-inch charge is easy to make anyway.
No, but if boys can, if somebody's going to do it, boys are going to do it.
Yep.
1 point for Grot Shield. 1 point for Grot Shield, gentlemen.
One. So he's Grot Shielding right now. So that's another fantastic Orc stratagem that lasts for the phase. So anytime a targeted unit within 6 inches takes wounds, on a 2+, Grots can jump in front. They're toughness 2, so they almost always die. But it's an effective countermeasure.
Yeah, and how many points are Grots, Jonah?
3 points, I believe.
3 points, a model to save a potential model, something like a Luda or a War Boss, or even a boy for that matter, is usually worth it. So we'll see. We'll see how that's going to go here.
So it looks like the Grots on that far side of the L-shaped building down there are jumping in front of those boys.
The other stipulation, Jonah, for us that don't play Orks, though, is, if I'm not mistaken, they do have to be between the firing unit and the unit that you're trying to use Grot Shields on, correct?
Yes.
Excellent.
I believe that is correct. But it looks like Steven's unloading a lot of firepower into that boy squad. And down goes the Knob, eating 2 of those wounds, otherwise there would be 2 dead boys in his place.
Grot Shield, 3 of them. 4-day Grots. Grots are almost gone.
So that first Grots unit is waning pretty fast, but that's exactly what they're there for.
I know, I've lost models to the pistols before.
Yeah, they can tar pit pretty good, can't they? I mean, there's enough of them that you have something that can only swing 3 or 4 times a turn. It's going to take a little while to chew through that many Grots.
Yep. And it's keeping you in combat for that next squad of boys to come right up and join the fight.
Hold on.
So Steven's done a lot of prep into his list building. He's played this list a lot, hasn't he?
Yeah. So Jonah, what we're asked, we see Felix Crab has a question here, and the question is, would be interested to know, since a lot of the Marine lists that are doing well seem to be running double or even triple battalion, how he copes with only 7 CP. And, it is a really good question that you bring up here, Felix, because one of the things that Steven teaches in his training videos, Jonah, is that you need to put CP as a resource that you're planning to use during a game. And if you don't need to use 20 or 30 CP because you don't have CP-hungry units, then you don't need to build CP-based lists.
I've built several Yunari lists where I'll put in a double battalion where a Vanguard would suit me just as well, or an Outrider.
Yeah.
And ending the game with 6 CP does me no good.
Exactly. So if you're looking at this list, you're going to see later on we're going to be providing some links, and you can find the links to the blog for Vanguard Tactics at vanguardtactics.com. And Steven shares those lists with people in the mailing list when you sign up, and especially with the free ITC course and the mentorship course, you're going to see those lists and see why he's building these lists. But if we do a really quick breakdown of this list, he's got Marnis Calgar in this list. And that is giving him the Chapter Master without having to spend a CP for it, and getting those full rerolls. That is the new wording that GW has pushed out, which is amazing. It does so much clarification for that, and so much less mental gymnastics when you're trying to figure out what you can roll and reroll. And so he's got a ton of shots, full rerolls there, and then he's got fewer CP that he needs to be pushing through on things, and more efficient units in that manner.
So, High Kringle, now that we're talking about the mentorship, High Kringle says, is it worth the cost? So, the whole reason why we're sitting here today streaming with Vanguard Tactics is Brian is a local player that started at the beginning of the year. He's the one that's reached out to them. If you want to be competitive, I believe that it is worth the cost.
Yeah, so Kringle, Jared here, and I am one of the founding mentorship program trainees. So I joined the mentorship, and I had been playing for about 3 or 4 months. I was losing every single game that I went to, RTT or even a GT, and I was just losing every single game. I joined in, and I had seen some Vanguard Tactic videos prior, and then I joined the mentorship program. And with the work, then the way that we step through all of the processes, which has been streamlined even more so now, the way that the mentorship gets introduced, it's so worth it. It really is. When I look at it, versus buying a new unit every month and trying to just like mash my face against the desk and try to figure out everything possible all by myself, versus having world-class players from the Vanguard Tactics team. We're talking about people like Ben Jones, who just took second place at Warhammer World GT in the Heat. I think it was Heat 3 or Heat 4.
Yeah, something like that.
You've got the captain of the UN team in ETC with Stephen Box that are giving you these suggestions, hints, as well as not only that, but training aids that get you to make good choices. And it's more than just net listing. It's more than just telling you to run this and you're going to succeed. It's giving you the tools to succeed over and over and over again and adapt to the future metas and the future gameplays. So is it worth it? Totally.
Absolutely. And I guarantee you, speaking about net decking, net listing, if I take one of Steven's lists, he's going to play it totally different than I will. But he'll tell you how he plays it. So I also agree, not one to travel to tournaments myself, just watching the earlier game, I think that it definitely would be well worth the purchase. We're on the bottom of turn 1 still.
And bottom of turn 1, and Rich has 3 points from his turn 1, and Steven is really working through all this mentally. He's taking this critical turn 1 to set up the rest of the game.
So not Vanguard Strike, but remind me, I'm bad with the
Vanguard.
What was our
it is the search and destroy is what it is. So it's the corners where you have to be in your corner 9 inches away from the center of the board and deploy in that corner.
So, Rudy, Steven's secondaries, we can definitely cover those again.
Yeah, so Steven chose, Rudy, he chose Ground Control, Butchersville, and Reaper. Let me know if you have any questions about those secondaries that he chose, and we can let you and fill you in on those.
Yeah, so Felix Crab. Yeah, depending on your list, some lists just aren't CP hungry. Like my Grey Knights take an ally of a Castellan. It is super CP hungry. I wish it wasn't, but some models, some units just need them to go ahead and be effective. So, Sean's new. He just discovered this channel. Thinking about getting back into 40K again.
Awesome, Sean. You
Awesome.
are joining
Welcome.
in. You are joining into a living rule set of 40K that Games Workshop has now proven that they are listening to the community and making sure that going forward we are going to have a game that is playable on a consistent basis, whether you are competitive, narrative, casual, whatever way that you want to play the game, they are making sure that we have the capability of doing it. They've even, if I'm not mistaken here, Jonah, they've even instituted, coming up, they are announcing the legacy units. So they are making it so that we can play with any model that they've ever made and play forward with it.
Okay, so I'm going to interrupt real quick for a second.
Yeah, we've got the end of score.
So they're scoring at the end of round one. So it looks like they tied on kills. Steven was only able to come up with 1 kill. Looks like Rich holds more.
And Rich, how many models are you down at this point?
I get 20 procs and 10 boys, so 30, so he's making progress.
All right.
Definitely scored a Reaper point.
So we're going to invite Steven over here. And Steven, welcome over to the chat session here.
Oh,
buddy.
hi, guys.
Hey. So tell us about that turn one, both top and bottom, man. That was interesting. What's going through your head right now?
Yeah, I mean, that was a big turn from Rich.
It was.
3 shock attack guns, all over strength 8 is massive. So losing that execution, I'll be honest, I thought I deployed well to stay out of range of those looters. So losing the executioner was big. Losing that,
losing the aggressors.
losing 2 aggressors.
Oh
having
man,
to spend
that's
a
tough.
CP.
Yeah.
I stupidly played Tremor Shells. I shouldn't have done it. I really regretted playing Tremor Shells. What I should have done...
Is that because he's just got so many boys units that if he
So-
Tremor Shell 1, he can just pull another one?
Because I've been forced to spend so many CPs prior,
Uh-huh.
and I kind of wish I didn't spend the 2 CPs on cover, but if I was Rich and not done that, I would have probably jumped my looters so that he can shoot one of my guys without getting a cover save, so he could have maximised his threat of the looters. So that was why I played the cover, because he could stick him in the corner or something, double shoot the
Right.
looters, daka, he picks up maybe... And he would have actually potentially picked up 2 executioners.
Oh, that would have been terrible.
Especially watching his rolls. So I thought...
So Thomas isn't wrong.
So I played the... Yeah, no, Thomas is definitely bang on there. So the reason why Tremor Shells was a mistake... Tremor Shells was a mistake because I sealed it over 1 unit, which basically meant I'm re-rolling hits and wounds against that 1 unit, and I was expecting to do a little bit more. Him having 1 grot left was really unfortunate.
Yeah.
Now, the reason why Tremor Shells was a mistake is because it cost me a CP to do it. Now, if I wasn't Tremor Shells, basically he can jump a unit anyway, so if I Tremor Shells the other, he's still going to get a unit, and he can only jump 1 unit, and if he green tides the other unit, then either way 2 units of boys are getting in, okay?
They're going to reset and just
So
break through anyway.
Tremor Shells is pointless.
Ah, okay.
What I should have done was not done it, killed the grot. Hopefully I'd have just done that anyway. It was annoying having to put my Thunderfire into that 1 grot to get in. But the reason why I did that was because it prevented a 2 victory point swing in Rich's favour, because I wouldn't have got a kill. And then what I should have done was then double tapped and then hit the looters. Okay.
Yeah, because see, when he tremor shells, guys, that is a -1 to wound for that Thunderfire cannon, and it's putting out 4 die 3 shots every time it fires. That is a massive amount of fire against these orcs that are just swarming across the board.
I could have spent 2 CPs and maybe pick up 6 to 8 looters. And if I double fire, maybe I pick up the whole squad of looters. If that last grot was dead and I pick up all looters, because grot shield is already done from the big unit of boys, so I baited that out well, but not killing that last grot meant I just needed to get the VPs.
Man,
so I'm playing for the VPs here, which means that I'm not, attacking him how I want to, because my turn wasn't as effective as it possibly should have been. Now, I decided to go second because I know when I go first against orcs, I can start to really reduce their firepower. That, I'm thinking now, could be a mistake. I'm kind of penned in a little bit. Not being able to move through that L-shaped ruin near me is a real big problem for my aggressors. So that L-shape itself is the crater here, is really hindering my movement. If this was a different L-shaped ruin, I'm moving straight through that. The aggressors are in range, and they're going to do a little bit more work. So I'm playing a longer game here. So I'm feeling like there's a lot of pressure on, and I just got to hope that Rich doesn't roll very well on his the jump charge, and also his shock attacks now should be, for the rest of the game, he owes me awful dice. So,
well, Steven, thanks for coming over and talking to us. You talk about it quite a bit in the mentorship program about controlling the tempo, and I'm really anxious to see how you're going to move forward with this and try to return that homeostasis back to the being able to play closer to the way you want to play versus the way he's forcing you to play.
So he's got Bad Moons, Evil Sons, and so basically the looters are Bad Moons, all the boys are Evil Sons, so they get the extra movement, and then the double Smasher boy is a Death Skull, so he's re-rolling hit, re-rolling a wound, and re-rolling the damage. So and he gets +1 to wound against vehicles. His warlord trait.
And a reminder, guys, that if you guys have any questions for either one of the players today, Rich or Steven, we're going to be able to get to talk to them in between turns this way. So make sure to do @Vanguard Tactics and put those questions in the chat. Also, share the video if you can. Get some other people watching the stream. We are live here at TimpCon in Provo, Utah, down at the
Utah Valley Convention Center.
Utah Valley Convention. One of these times I'm going to remember that.
It'll probably be Saturday or Sunday morning.
Right before I go home?
Yeah,
of course.
Next Sunday morning.
So if you find your way down to the con, we are at the Paragon City Games booth. That has been provided. The terrain has been provided through their shop in partnership with another local shop. Correct, Jonah?
It's actually a bunch of players. So the top Blood Angels player, the Double Dutch Rudder, Rich is also a member of that team. They host our biggest 40K event called the Rudder. It's always the first weekend in December. But they've set the precedent for 40K in our area here. They're some of our top players.
And it's great terrain. It's all standardized. Everything's at least 3 inches, so there's no question that you got to move 3 inches to get up onto a box or onto the first floor of the building. And everything's modular, so you're able to move in and out of the boxes really easily with those troops. It's just some great terrain. As well, you guys have found yourselves on the Vanguard Tactics YouTube channel, as the Vanguard Tactics at vanguardtactics.com has a free ITC course that you guys can sign up for, as well as the mentorship and a master class that you can get tickets for that's going to be happening tomorrow here at TimpCon.
So,
we got a question.
Yeah, so Anthony, absolutely, he has 3 squads of suppressors and deep strike.
And let me tell you, that was a last-minute change here, Jonah, that he analyzed and was able to push into this list. And man, we saw that these three squads do some massive damage in the earlier game, didn't we? They deep struck in and reinforced that back line, that fire line support. And let me tell you what, the strength 7 -2 AP, 2 damage per shot at 2 shots per boy. Ooh, man, oh man, those are some tough hitting units.
And that's going to choose through some boys. And let's see what goes where in the psychic phase here. He's jumping something.
Oh, looky there. He's jumping grots. That is awesome. You don't see this much, actually. I've not seen too many people do this. And it shows you just why he's doing this, guys, is he's pushing that grot unit for grot shields right in front of Steven's forces. So next turn, Steven, if he's going to shoot any part of that force behind that grots, he has to shoot those grots first.
Or he's going to have to eat them with a grot shield.
Yep. This is why Rich is one of the best orc players in the ITC currently. He's got all these tricks ready to go at the moment's notice.
Now we're moving into the shooting phase.
Yes. Okay, we're gonna believe in the shock attack guns again.
Steven's trying to convince him not to believe in the shock attack.
We're requesting that YouTube stops believe in Rich Dice and believe in Steven's Dice instead. That's what we need. We need
I feel like if these shock attack guns hit 11 or 12 strength, we're going to hear our first major wah, boys.
So, if you're just tuning in, like all of us, yes, there's a local belief here that if the orcs believe hard enough, they can do whatever they want. Rich believes hard enough.
The shock attack gun has gotten strength 9. That is again, that's three shock attack guns now again that are over strength 8. That means they are going to be at this point they're going to be wounding on 3s against these repulsors.
Oh boy.
8 shots? Woo, man, oh man. Yeah, those dice love Rich today. 8 shots at strength 9. 3 hits. 3 wounds.
Being aggressive, rerolling the 3 on damage.
Man, oh man.
For a total of 10 damage.
Ooh, the lolly.
The next shock attack gun's gonna fire at him first.
And I think he just declared he's shooting twice again.
Yeah, I hear that. Now, strength 5. Oh, see, here we go, boys.
Reroll for Death Skull and 1 more dash. No, so 1 chance. I need a 5. -5.
Pushing it through, even with strength 5, he's pushing through wounds on these repulsors.
He got 1 all the way through.
You know, some days this is just going to be the happen.
Just 3 damage.
I'll tell you what, though, that repulsor's still doing its job. With 3 wounds left, it is still doing what it needs to, and that is absorb fire.
Okay, here's the looters. They're not going to double fire. So I didn't. Okay, here's how many shots.
Just 3 shots each of the looters, okay?
Just 3 shots each, boys. Ferda.
No. 45. Nope. There's 20. I'll roll.
And Rich is denying Steven just the ability just to pick him up.
Rich does love rolling dice.
Well,
to be fair.
Sorry, I had to do that.
Gentlemen.
Oh, come on, Rich.
You can't win if you don't roll dice, though.
No.
Jonah.
No.
All right. Hey, so Jonah, flip us over to the chat. Let's see what chat's saying.
These +2. Here's 2 means 3. And then after Just 3. -1.
Yeah, Sean, that strength 10 is pretty tough to deal with, because so the strength variability on those guns, what it's allowing him to do is making it easier and easier to wound those repulsors that are at toughness 8. So if he meets 8, it's a wounding on 4. If he's at 7 or less, it's a 5. Okay, so when he hits 10, or even 9 for that matter, he's wounding on 3s. When it really comes into play, though, is when he gets to 11, he's doing mortal wounds on top of everything else when he gets those shock attack guns ramped up that high.
You're down to 1? The other shock attack gun. But I'm going to spend 2 and shoot the loot again.
Double shooting the loot is here.
All right. So Rich is believing in those looters. They just got 3 shots each last time. So now let's see what it's going to happen. What's the shot count this time?
Thinking about
Just on the loot is when they're firing again, another 3 shots.
Man, oh man.
And Rich was even thinking about splitting his shots, but he didn't.
I did not split my shot.
So all 15 have 3 shots into the same target.
He's a nice guy. His dice on the other hand.
No wound, see?
Yeah, those looters are putting in some work.
No, 2 more daggers. No. 2 wounds.
Save them both, boys. Save them both.
Need 3s, right?
2 wounds.
3.
Easy.
That face tells me that those were not the saves that he was looking for.
And of course, Rich is running away, so definitely not good news.
Yeah, with a 1 and 2, that is going to force Steven to roll again for aggressors. This time, it is the repulsor that has 5, count them, aggressors.
And Rich is spending 2 more CP for another shock attack. And Steven's spending 1.
Because he's rolled again 1s in order to get those aggressors out. And he's going to measure. You're seeing him measure here because he's looking to see to make sure that if he pushes them out, that they're not going to be in line of sight for something to just pop them even harder. Because one thing, Jonah, to get a black eye from getting a repulsor blown up, it's another to put them out in line of fire and get sucker punch from the other side when just getting out of that tank.
So re-rolling on the casualty. Doesn't get it back.
Shoot when you die. So you're out.
All right, so guys, Steven is burning most of his CP. He's going to be left with 1 CP with that regen roll
back.
And he's using a stratagem that the Ultramarines have, where a unit that gets destroyed gets to fire after it is destroyed. So he's going to fire the repulsor, it looks like, to some hopefully good effect, and fire in Rich's shooting phase to help get rid of some of those grots.
Wondering if he's going to target the grots or force Rich to spend the CP.
Yeah, let's see what he does here.
And we're recording. It's the greatest.
As he's checking his rule books. So if you guys are noticing some bad rolls coming from Steven's dice, I've noticed on my own. D6dice.com provides wonderful metal dice. They sometimes go through these spurts where you're going to roll a bunch of 1s and 2s. I've gone an entire game where I rolled a bunch of 2s. Still really nice dice, really easy for your opponent to read on the other side of the table. D6s, D12s. Wonderful dice. I love them. Sometimes they just don't love us back.
Yeah, so go visit D6 Dice. That is 6dice.com. You can find yourselves with colored pips, white pips, color to match your whatever army that you might be
We've got
playing.
gold, blue, red, green, black, silver. We might still have some purple in stock. Wide variety colors. If you want something, go ahead and email them. Brian might be able to come up with it.
Yeah, and you can get either pips or numbers, correct, Jonah?
Absolutely.
Awesome. So depending on how you want to get those are available at die6dice.com.
So yes, he's trying to resolve his stratagem before you remove the model off of the board. You get to shoot with it.
Yeah, so again,
that's why
Jonah,
it's still on the table.
We're seeing a really critical use of the clock here, right? So Steven is making a critical choice that he has put the time on himself, and he is taking and using his time to make this choice that could end up helping him or hurting him in the coming bottom of this phase, turn 2.
Looks like he killed the Grot shield that got jumped in front.
Yeah, see, right there. So now he's got a little bit better line of fire to those boys that are peeking out right around that corner.
And
that
again,
are moving
this was
forward.
done on Rich's shooting phase. Definitely looks like a good use of CP at the right time.
Yep. And now Steven is looking at where he's going to deploy those aggressors out of his repulsor after it had been destroyed. Looking to see where he wants to put them. Is he going to be forward and gain some ground here with 3 inches moving forward? Or if he's going to tuck him back around the corner so that he has a unified force. You know, he's only got 1 CP at this point, so that stratagem of 2 CP to fire Overwatch at incoming Orks is no longer available to him, Jonah.
And that's
so
going to be huge.
He's got to really think about this and dig deep into his toolbox of what he can use that 1 CP for at this point.
And it's looking like he's being a tad aggressive, knowing what's potentially coming up the board in the next turn.
Yeah, well, also, Jonah, remember, he still has those 3 units of suppressors that are coming in, and he can put some hurt on these Ork boys that are just teetering right here in front of him, and he's going to be in Tactical Doctrine this turn, so he can move forward and shoot with that -1 AP on up to 100 shots on a single unit. I think it's 126 if he maxes out his rolls on those variable shots from the Fragstorm launchers. So it can do some massive, massive damage to these Ork boys that have now been made vulnerable to that repulsor shooting it.
Strength 10, 5 shots on the CP to shoot again with the shock attack.
You know, I might have to ask you to retcon these rolls here, Jonah, because he's getting these strength 10 shots off of these guns, and I have not seen or heard a single wah. A single
there
wah.
goes his dice. There we go. Rich is feeling good.
Oh my.
Steven just brought the dice up.
He rolled strength 10, 5 shots, converted into 6 hits. He only had 5 shots. 6 hits.
Welcome to my life.
Oh.
Guys, I'm sorry. I've had a word with Rich. I said, look, it's a stream game. Let's keep it nice and close. You know, give you guys a good viewing experience. And look at him. He's laughing his socks off over there. He's chuffed. Look at him.
And you are seeing firsthand great sportsmanship by just laughing and just accepting the fate of the dice. Isn't that right, Jonah?
Oh, absolutely.
Because sometimes just dice are going to go somebody's way, and that, you know, these are the Apex games
And
that you get to
the
remember.
other tank.
Oh no. Oh no. But he's pulling all 3 aggressors out, so at least he didn't lose an aggressor this time to the
But
tank
at least this
disappearing.
time, Steven didn't lose anything on blowing up the transport.
Exactly. And all 3 of those tanks went away, got destroyed without blowing up. That could have put some
Amazing.
damage on that Thunderfire cannon and Marnius that are hiding back there. That would have been pretty devastating. Marnius against these Orks is going to put out a lot of damage coming forward once they break into his lines there. So we're looking at chat. Reminder that if you are in chat, taking part in the chat, if you've got a question for us, either the players or in general about Vanguard Tactics or Paragon City Games, make sure to hit at Vanguard Tactics so that pops up and easier for us to identify your questions, guys.
So yeah, a repulsor is one of the new Primaris tanks. It's amazing. It slows down your charges.
And it does that through the ability called repulsor fields, and it's simply that it's -2 to your charge distance.
So one thing in every tournament that I've ever been to that Rich is always at, 2 things are going to happen. You're going to get a great big wah some point during the game, and he'll never stop laughing. No matter how the dice go in whose favor, he's always going to be laughing.
Laughing is a way to cope with everything, right? Cope with good situations, cope with bad situations.
Now, Steven's onto his movement, seeing what he can maximize here.
And Rich, what was your score for turn 2 there?
So I got a recon.
Okay.
And I got 2 kills. So I got a kill in the holes. I did not bonus because Steven played a great play to stop my bonus.
It was a great play.
So what he's talking about there is that primary bonus, guys. So when that repulsor went away and he used that stratagem, Steven did, he removed the grots that were going to be on that second point that Rich put down, scoring him a primary bonus point. And that would have put Rich in a massive lead there. And Jonah, Steven showing that he can, even when getting his socks kicked off of him right now, he's still making choices that are keeping him close in this game. This game is really swinging towards Rich. However,
I'd never count
right back. Yeah, never count out those aggressors, the volume of fire that they can put out, the suppressors that are coming in. We could see some massive swings now because those shock attack guns and those Luda boys are going to start having real hard times drawing beads and line of fire to those smaller aggressor profiles now that those repulsors are off the field. It could start getting hard for him to find something to shoot when those aggressors get dug in.
And one thing Rich is going to have to think about is he going to have to redeploy with the jump on the Ludas? And that means he's not putting more Orks making a press being a threat.
Yeah, but he is still playing he's not letting his lead go to his head either. If you see those grots that are strung out along that quarter of the board down there, they're keeping those inceptors away from his back line. So if they want to deploy, they have to deploy way far away from that main force, which is not a place where he wants to put those inceptors.
Nope.
Suppressors, rather.
Yeah.
Hey, Brian, why don't you show that to the camera real quick? So Brian's going to show you his new chainmail dice that a local artist was making here in Provo. Where can they find those at, Brian?
They're called Ring Maiden.
All right, so you can find those at Ring Maiden Mail on possibly.com or on Etsy. Check them out, and we'll try to get some information for you. You can also come down to TimpCon and find them down here at TimpCon. We are at the Provo
Utah Valley Convention Center in beautiful downtown Provo, Utah.
Awesome.
It's Ring Maiden Mail
Etsy.com/shop/ringmaidenmail.
All right, there you go. So that's Ring Maiden Mail, and mail is spelled the correct way of M-A-I-L-L-E, which is the old world spelling. That's awesome. They have a lot of really cool items on there, boys. So go check those out. You can also find them at facebook.com, Ring Maiden Mail.
So on that chainmail dice, it's actually made out of chainmail.
Yeah, those are aluminum rings that were all interconnected, and the pips are rings that are within the chainmail that are different colors. So it might not have been super easy to see, but it's really evident when you see it in person. All right.
Looks like there's orky food. So, Felix Crab is commenting on just trying to get enough tournament points to continue on. Pretty positive that's not what Steven's trying to do.
Oh, I'm sorry. What was the question here, Jonah?
We'll go back to that. So,
sure.
Felix Crab was saying in these situations, you're looking to get the most tournament points and seeing what you can do. Steven's definitely got a plan. And it being a dice game, we could see the dice swing way back in his favor.
Yeah, Felix, you're not off base there in that when you're playing practice games or you're playing actually any game that isn't specifically a re-racking practice game, you want to be able to see what you can do when you have degraded forces, whether it's planned or, in this case, provided by the WA. They are having a little bit of a discussion here really quick because Ultramarines and, in fact, all Space Marine chapters that have the new doctrines must describe at the beginning of the term whether or not they are changing doctrines, because once turn 2 comes around, they can switch from the Devastator doctrine into the Tactical doctrine. And the conversation from how it went was basically that Steven said, I didn't make this call. I am going to accept the fact that I didn't make the call so that I can remind myself next time, feel that pain this game, and move on to it when it might matter more. And Rich, with some very classy play, is saying, test me. I want to see what these guys are capable of when they're in Tactical Doctrine. So he has let Steven go into Tactical Doctrine, which gives him -1 AP on all of his rapid fire and his assault weapons. And because he's Ultramarines, he gets an extra part of that Tactical Doctrine of as long as his models move but do not advance, they are able to then fire as if they have not moved.
Curtain's waiting due to the AC, and the camera's picking it up. I don't know what we can do about that, though. So, as we're going to flip back to the chat here real quick.
Yeah, Sean, those tanks disappeared to some absolutely phenomenal rolling, and the power of the WA with double shooting, strength 10 twice, and maximum shots from the Ludas, and it's just, it's been brutal. The onslaught from the fire line that Rich has set up in that back field there has just been devastating for Steven to deal with.
And it looks like he did not bring in his reserves this turn.
Yeah, so that's an interesting play. I wonder what the thought process is there, if he's trying to make some space for them, or hope that Rich is going to commit more and more forces forward and leave him with some areas to come in at.
So there's a discussion on just what it is like to play Rich. His dice are generally like this. I believe he believes enough in this,
hence reinforcing the fact that he should come in greenskin.
Absolutely. I mean, he's big enough. I don't think we can tie him down and paint him real quick, though. I wouldn't recommend that.
Nope. Yep. Yeah, so Steven's making light of his earlier mistake that he highlighted by tremor shells, and Rich is just clarifying that he did not tremor shells this turn, meaning that Thunderfire cannon is going to be wounding at normal profile against these Orc boys this turn.
Yep.
And it looks like he has done some good damage against that with that 4-3 thunder shots from the Thunderfire cannon.
Yeah, he's gonna do it. You're gonna do it, aren't you? He's gonna get it.
He's thinking about. So he had three left. Failed all 3. Now he looks like he's spending the CP to re-roll that die to keep the unit.
Oh! It was 5. It was a 5. We're safe. It dies.
All right.
And the Orcs did not believe enough.
So, Rich, that brings you down to 9 CP, correct?
8.
8. All right, I missed one in there.
So, obviously, probably 2, maybe 3 total Reaper points at this point.
Yeah,
at the end of turn.
Yeah, he's looking at it, but he's also looks like he might be picking up Butcher's Bill as well.
And hence the question, clarification. And keep in mind, Butcher's Bill is player's turn, so you can do it in your opponent's turn as well as your own.
So, Steven, your score for this turn, it looks like you've got a kill. Do you have a hold as well?
I got a kill and a hold.
Okay.
Rich is going to get the hold more. Unfortunately, I did kill 2 units, but one was in Rich's turn, one's in mine, so I don't qualify for the Rich's
man,
kill.
that's tough, right?
Yeah, I was in a dilemma if I brought the suppressors down.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, I could have, however, he grot shields for 1 CP, so therefore I don't actually kill any looters, and then the looters in return pick up all 9 suppressors.
And
so I'm just basically playing super defensive here.
It looks like you're doing that change that tempo. You're forcing him to come forward,
but
come crash into.
Unfortunately, I don't really think there's any way that I'm coming back into this at all.
Oh.
So in an ETC format, and basically if I'm in a tournament here, all I'm doing is just trying to, rather than, this is where you need to, in my opinion anyway, you've got 2 options. You can either completely admit defeat, concede, and give away maximum points. But in a tournament, you always want to score as many points as you possibly can, because it's going to come down to a tiebreaker. So, you know, let's say I'm playing Rich, and we're playing, like, Game 6. We're both on, like, 5 wins at the moment, okay, potentially.
Right.
And there could be 2 other guys that are also on 5 wins. I'm going to lose this game, okay? So I can either get really annoyed about it, salty and whatever, or I can play for as many points as I can, because the other guys might not score as many points as me out of all the 5-1 players, so therefore I'll come in silver place.
Yeah, now you're hunting for that 2nd and 3rd place.
Exactly. So it's all about, when you're playing in a team event and you're trying to score points, sometimes the game just doesn't go your way, right? As you can see today, I'm sure you guys can make your own mind up in terms of dice rolls. What have happened, obviously, I joke about it a lot. And yeah, all I'm trying to do here, because if I bring those suppressors down, he can jump them looters wherever he wants to go. You can see all the firing lines, right, where there's nowhere I can go, and that ruin at the moment is those creators are actually penning me in. If this was Vanguard Strike, this is a different game, because I would have elected to go first, because he would have only had a barricade and 1 big L shape to hide behind.
Right.
So on a different deployment, this is a different game.
And is that also a really good reason why you need to be playing all of the map types with all the missions, Steven?
Yeah, like I said to Rick, reps are so important. You need to get used to deploying in every single deployment map, and ideally you want the experience of understanding, you know, do you need to go first against that? Do you need to go second? So there's all these different considerations that you need. And again, this is something we talk about in the mentorship program, right?
Exactly.
It's refining, it's analytical, it's about tracking this data so you know exactly what you need to do moving forward. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoy it anyway. These guys are doing a great job commentating. I'm going to get back to see what damage Rich is going to do next.
Yeah, thanks
Wish
again
me
for
luck.
coming over, Steven.
So there was a question about the mats on the ground. Yes, they're just simple anti-fatigue mats. Again, if you're playing in a 3-round event, you're on your feet 6-7 hours, if not more. It's something Paragon City Games we bring to our events, just to try to help us get through the day.
So you don't see anything. So this is the price of admission. Oh, right here.
So Rich is doing the top of turn 3 actions here, and he has been pre-measuring like a madman and making sure that he's moving everything where he needs it to go to get maximum fire lines, keep that pressure going, and keep Steven pinned in that corner. Because if he lets Steven out, Steven will capitalize on every single mistake or even partial mistake that Rich is going to make here. So he's got to keep that lead up, and he's got to keep the pressure up.
Yep, and keep in mind, if you're looking at the top left corner of the table, those orcs are just getting put back on movement tray. They're not actually sitting there.
Yeah, they did, boys.
But look at that movement by Rich. Very few decent choices to come down.
Yeah, it would all be, as I like to say, negative life choices, Jonah.
Definitely negative. Definitely. And like Steven was saying, he can just jump to looters wherever he needs them to be. Definitely giving Steven a good thorough run for his money here. As that big blob of boys just keeps walking forward.
I'm gonna advance him.
Rolled 2 advance rolls so far with his boys. He rolled a 6 and a 6 for both of his advance.
Oh well, I'm glad that the orcs are enthusiastic about smashing into some Ultramarines. They heard that Ultramarines can deal with Tyranids, but perhaps they can't deal with orcs. And today, so far, the Wa has been reigning supreme. So Rich has rolled 2 6s back-to-back on units there for advanced rolls, swarming in, moving in for that kill.
He believes.
And he believes.
Weird boy. No pizza. It's a happy weird boy.
I'll be the commentator for a second. Yo, yo, yo. It's Slim Thug on the mic. This has been one of the most amazing games to just watch in person. I'm not sure how much of it you guys can see just as the YouTube audience, but oh my goodness.
I will.
Steven's comment was, I can't believe you're beating me on my own stream, Rich. And Rich says, I haven't beaten you yet. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Brian, you won already.
Goes off on 11.
Some models.
Actually, yes, I take D3. I take 3. Yes, 4. Down to 1.
Boys come in boxes of 10 and cost $30. Hey, when you've been collecting for 30 plus years. Yeah. Rice. Hey, Lou just said Rich's dice rolls are statistically unqualifiable for stats tracks. Too many 5s and 6s. There's literally no way to track it in a tracker.
I mean, Lou's not wrong.
Lou is not wrong. Lou is absolutely right. Yeah, get a second job for 6 months, buy yourself an orc army, you'll be great. You can handle it. Or work part-time at GW Store and get 50. Yeah, when shock attacks get really good rolls like that with a green tide rush, Ultramarines can't do a lot. We've seen Steven kind of take some low percentage edges in certain areas, but it's really hard to beat. You know, when your dice are good, it's really hard to beat sometimes.
I will.
Dude, the nice thing about Orks is you get so many attacks. You get so many attacks with them that you don't really need to know how to play the game. You just have to be willing to roll a ton of dice, right? And you might as well roll metal ones from d6dice.com.
Exactly, Brian. Although I think Rich might disagree. You have to believe, you have to law, and then you can roll dice.
Yes.
If you do it in that order, you are just fine. But if you need to satisfy your dice fix, Dice6Dice.com has metal dice that you can get in a wide variety of colors with color pips, colored numbers, whether or not you want numbers or letters, all sorts of different crazy colors in Die 6 and Die 12s, giving you great things to add to your tabletop experience. If you wish to join us tomorrow for the masterclass, you can. That is being taught by Stephen Box and the Vanguard Tactics crew. You can join us here in Provo at TimpCon. You can find class tickets at the master's class at VanguardTactics.com.
And Rich is going to be one of the co-hosts with that.
Yeah,
as well.
We're excited to get yet another person that is just a world-class player to join in and help everyone learn. And the masterclass is indicative. It is part of Vanguard Tactics' commitment to helping the entire community of 40K grow and get better. You can find the free mentorship, or the free class rather, for ITC and learning how to be a better ITC player at VanguardTactics.com. Also links to that masterclass like we were talking about, as well as the mentorship program.
So another good sportsmanship issue from Steven right there. Rich is like, I don't have enough dice, I need one more. He's like, I'll roll it for you.
Well, Rich might not want to take that the way that Steven's been rolling in this game.
Fair enough.
Yeah, he didn't hear that one. I'm probably going to he's going to hear that one back, and I'm going to get chided for that one later.
Moving on freeze. 5, 10, 9, 1. Okay. 5, 3 up. Yeah. I'm ready. I'm ready. 6 wounds. 1 pick 2. Okay, I'll spend 2 CP and they will fire again.
Spending 2 CP to fire again.
And Rich, that puts you down to 6?
4. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Put the clock on him. I'm getting pizza.
So what Steven's thinking is re-rolling a success on a armor save into a fail to deny line of sight. Interesting choice.
Yeah, because the CP reroll is not a fail reroll. It is CP reroll to reroll whatever you want to do. And in this case, it is an interesting use of that last CP that he has.
Also, guys in the chat, should I do it?
All right, guys, in the chat, do you want him to try to re-roll this? But remember also, he has not gained back a CP, so this could be an extra gamble in that even if it goes off, he could get it back, and this is a free attempt at disrupting Rich's plan of moving forward in the top of turn 3.
I'm gonna do it.
So he's decided to do it. So let's rejoin the. He gets it back, so it's a free chance.
He needs this.
So he needs to re-roll a 1.
Or a
he
2.
Needs to roll a 1 or a 2.
Oh, good effort. High five. Great
Does
job.
not sound
man.
successful.
And that little lady has luck that Steven has been needing all night. And
Not when he
unfortunately,
needs it.
he did not get the result that he needed.
I have to do at the end of the shooting phase. For the bat. Thank you very much. So I will do that at the end.
So now, because that aggressor did not die, he is still in line of sight, and because he is in line of sight, that double shooting is going to be able to pound into him again.
His strength is 7. His shots are 8.
8 shots at strength 7 off of the shock attack.
Reroll 1 for Death Skull. And 2 more DACas. Nope. Wounding on 3. 4 wounds at -5.
4 wounds just went through.
Next one, 3. It's done. Just 1. And then 5.
And it looks like Rich got to kill him, just wipe the aggressors.
Yeah, so they're going to shoot there. Cost me 2. I'm down to 4.
So Rich spends another 2. He's at 4. And the Ludas are shooting again.
Just 3. Just 3 extra.
Just 3. Just 3.
20. More DACas on 5s. Reroll 1.
Oh, just give him one. I'll give him one here.
So 6 more DACas. Reroll 1. So just the first 20, you take just 3 more.
Steven, did you switch your time back over?
So I lose die.
More DACas.
So, going back through the chat, Lou seemed to agree with Steven to go ahead and take the gamble. Unfortunately, it didn't pay off. And still resolving the second shooting from the Ludas.
That's all.
And now, Steven's talking to his model or his dice, I'm not sure which.
But it's a good pep talk. You know, you
We'll
got to
see if
keep
it pays
morale
off.
up. You got to keep the morale up. Space Marines do the morale really well, but so you got to listen to them. So here's the vet. What do we got?
Exactly what
man.
he didn't need.
Oh man,
I'm done.
that's tough. So that's gonna be a kill, probably kill 2 for him.
And there's the
concession. Handshake. Yep, there is the handshake. That was a brutal game, ladies and gentlemen. Brutal game. All right, so as we wrap up and those boys talk about the last part of the game here, we're going to go back over the chat and answer some last-minute questions here. If you do have any last-minute questions, go ahead and put them into the chat at Vanguard Tactics, and we can answer those for you. And they can be for Rich, Steven, or just some general questions.
So to answer your question there, Sean, of who's winning right now, Rich is going to be massively up, and Steven was just talking it through. He's going to kill 1, put an amazing amount of firepower out, not get kill more, not get hold more. The other commentator is Jared. He's part of the mentorship program here with Vanguard Tactics.
Idaho.
So, Felix, if you're asking, Rich won the roll for turn 1. Steven passed on the chance to seize. He thought he stood the best chance seeing where the Orks advanced to and seeing what would happen.
Anthony, I get that question of is the shock attack gun OP? And the best thing that I can say about that is because of the variability of its strength and its number of shots, it is a very swingy weapon. Now, from what I hear about Rich's rolling, it's not so much. However, any time that you introduce another variable that could go against your favor is usually something that lessens its overall power capability. And we got a new question from Saint. He's been really active. I appreciate the communication in the chat today, keeping it hopping for us here. And he's asking, are there any Ultramarines unit that you would say are good for people newer to ITC? Maybe models that are more forgiving in misplays. As a new Ultramarines player myself, as I had a mishap with my Drukhari army recently.
Beautiful Drukhari.
Yes. The Ultramarines provide a plethora of options, Saint. There are so many options that really don't punish for mistakes. In this case, realistically, other than Steven's admission to firing the Thunderfire cannon with the tremor shells in one of the turns and burning that extra CP when he didn't need to, reducing its wound profile, there wasn't the mistakes volume here. It was just that Rich did things right. He did everything he needed to do, and his guns and his shooting performed when he asked them to every single time to such a great effect that it stopped Steven from being able to come back and control the tempo of the game and bring it back to his side. I hope that answers your question. I know that it's a little bit of a wishy-washy one, but there's an understanding of the army that has to go into making choices. And if you're getting started in the ITC, wanting to play those games and new to the game format in general, first of all, find a local game store like Paragon City Games where you can come in. You don't even have to buy models right away. There are so many guys that have plenty of models for you to come in and try out an army, see how you like them. Maybe you love the look of greenskins, the Orks, but they end up not being able to be something that you want to play, or Ultramarines, either way. So do that. Find out a little bit more about the armies. Talk to the veterans in the area that are playing.
So
next,
I'm going to interrupt her just
go
real
ahead.
quick. Go ahead. So they're continuing to play on. Down came the 9 suppressors. The first unit chewed through most of that boys unit. Or was that even could have been the 2 aggressors on the side, or some combination of that.
Yeah.
And now Steven's going into the Ludas. If he can neutralize this threat, next turn he might be able to gain the upper hand. We'll see.
We'll see. And again, they did a gentleman's handshake, where the game was, but they did agree to go ahead and move forward. So this is again one of those things that you can do when you're playing a friendly game that is semi-competition prep of, okay, this game is at a point where we could definitely call it. Steven often says, I know how the game's going to end by turn 3.
Yep.
So, but now they're just seeing what else can they do, what else could happen if those reinforcements came in. Back to what I was saying, and that is that there is free ITC course training with VanguardTactics.com. So Steven and Vanguard Tactics has the classes that are available and the mailing lists that are available at VanguardTactics.com, and it walks you through how to become a better ITC player. And this is going to affect not only as an ITC player, but there is enough information there that just even general casual and or narrative players can get some stuff out of it, because it gives you some critical thinking tools on how to approach your army list building, what army you're playing, deployments. There's so much information in those lessons that are free and available to you from Vanguard Tactics. And once you get through those, you can then also look at either joining us with a masterclass on Saturday or the Mentorship Program, which is an even more in-depth and more involved way to learn how to play the game of 40K provided by Vanguard Tactics.
And if you're not available for either of those, keep in mind, we will be streaming some of the masterclasses matches tomorrow. I will be back with you. So if you're unfortunately outside of the States, you can tune in for those. You can come back, because it is going to be on the YouTube channel. You can come back and look at them, and definitely you can learn from them.
Yeah, great point there, Jonah. And you also have the fact that they're doing master classes over in the UK. Stephen does come over from Bath, England. He made the trip all the way over here for not only the TimpCon, the masterclass here in Provo, Utah, but also he's going to be attending with the Utah faction over to SoCal, and that's going to be awesome for them.
Should be a fun time for everybody to go.
Of course.
And back to the game, clarify, Steven did get kill 1. He took out that massive squad of boys. Looks like he put just a little bit of firepower into the Ludas, but the Orks are right back at it again. Moving up, being aggressive, controlling the board.
Yeah, that sea of bodies. And you can see Rich here moving Orks into lines so they can get that bonus point there of controlling the objectives for the bonus point of the mission. They are playing What's Yours is Mine, this mission, so it is 5 objectives, and you need to control the 2 that you placed to get the bonus objective. One of those has to have been placed in your deployment zone, and one in your opponent's deployment zone.
So, back to your comment, Anthony. They did a gentleman's handshake, and Jared touched on this. Now they're just seeing what else they can do. It's a very important, as a TO, I've seen so many people, especially with what happened to Steven, just shut down and stop playing the game.
Yep.
But as Steven mentioned earlier on, he's now playing for second. He's not going to win, but if he plays well enough and scores those points, he can win the tiebreakers. Yeah. When I went to War Games for Warriors, I took 4, not understanding that exact point. When I wasn't winning, I went 4-1, and in my loss, I shut down and I stopped scoring points, and that ultimately cost me 3rd place.
Jonah, so recently, having been part of the Vanguard Tactics Mentorship Program and making my way from losing every single game that I was playing to going 3-2 at the major GT for Battlezone Ursa up in Anchorage, Alaska. Tell me, Jonah, what do you think my first 2 games were? Do you think one of those was a loss and a win, or what do you think my record looked like for the day, for the 2 days?
You know, I think you went in with a winning record. You came out with a winning record.
Yeah, so I ended up with a winning record of 3-2, but I took home 2 losses in day 1. So I went loss, then a win. And sportsmanship, clearing my head, and playing every game to its maximum capability, just like we talk about in Vanguard Tactics and the Mentorship Program, of figuring out what you need to do every single turn. Every single game is a new game. Every turn is a new turn that you're playing. That is the only way that you can go into a tournament, lose 2 games, and keep a clear head and move forward. So we do see that we have a new question in the chat.
Green Tide, even if you're a really casual player, as a TO at the store, and the looters are just continuing to
rain
outshoot.
hellfire upon these Ultramarines today.
So even if you're a super casual player at the game store Paragon City Games, I came to Brian and the management and said, I want to start running events for you guys. I know if I start running ITC missions, I can get people to come in the store. And now we're building our casual/narrative community. If you're looking for any help, what Jared just said, had I known about this and done it before my War Games for Warrior, I may have taken third, I may have taken second. The whole season before that, I was mono-dexing Grey Knights, not used to having a winning record. And all of a sudden, I switch up my list, I put in a Castellan, it does amazing things. But I was just so not used to knowing what to do in order to place well. And that's what Vanguard Tactics is really good at teaching you guys. So even if you're casual, they're still going to help you with the finer points of the game.
Awesome. Well said, Jonah. I agree on that wholeheartedly.
I wholeheartedly believe that if this was something that Brian was into beforehand, I could have done better.
Souped up chocolate shot, strength 10.
And the dice have not stopped for the Green Tide.
As we go into another shock attack gun at strength 10. So even against the Gravis Mark 10 armor and their new toughness 5, they are going to be wounding on 2.
Strength 10, but 0 hits. Now we're starting to see the luck of the Wasp starting to go. So a question from Anthony. Should Steven have deployed his Thunderfire cannon and hit the shock attack guns with turns 1 or 2? Keep in mind, those are characters. He can't be targeting those without the sniper keyword.
Yeah, and the Thunderfire cannon.
Biggest thing.
The Thunderfire cannon in this list and this build-up for Steven's list is really going to be useful against clearing out, say, grot shields prior to bombarding something, or even vice versa, the aggressors getting in range when those grot shields get too close. You can move the grots off with the fire from the aggressors, and then he's got free reign to boys with 4-3 shots potentially. Oh no, so here comes some mortal wounds from
mortal
the
wounds
shotgun
from a strength
gun.
12. 6 shots, strength 12, mortal wounds coming in.
So you get 6 3d3.
So 3d3 mortals so far.
3d3 mortals.
Oh my goodness gracious.
And 4 hits, so 3d3 mortals.
They're gone.
The WA has infected Provo, Utah tonight.
I'm gonna try
So,
again. I have the CP. Might as well.
and he's going to spend some CP to not fire again. He's not going to spend it. So, Timothy Wilkins, you know, we were just talking about this. What do we think GW could do to make the game more open to newer players, or the retention? Should digital rules be a thing? Should they be cheaper? Should they be free?
Alright, so what we got?
So, should digital rules exist? Should they be cheaper? Should they be free? What can we do for retention? Moving forward, we're gonna see what's happening.
Yeah,
GW doesn't want to do a new edition.
Right, they have committed wholeheartedly to this Living Rules edition, and the hold on, we got an update from the players.
Rich shooting overs again, he got another 3 shots. 21 hits, converted how many?
My oh my.
21 dice.
So, shooting the looters again.
He rolled 10 6s out of
As if to completely mock my statement of random shots, random strength being a potential detriment.
21 shots.
21 shots, 19 hits. And the wounds are going to be looking like wounding on 5s and 6s. Puts
Only
in
10 wounds.
10 wounds. That is still way above average by 4 or 5.
No, it's -1. You lose 3. It's -1.
But back to the question at hand.
Yeah.
It's going to be a living rule set. GW has made bounds since the start of 8.
Right.
Will we see digital rules? Probably. It's the way that the technology is creating.
So, I see, Jonathan. I see there is a possibility of maybe the FAQs becoming digitals and the digital copies getting updated, but I don't see a free version coming because, and I say that because the amount of time and effort that goes into that, the number of play testers that they have, the number of employees they have, the art that goes into this, the product that they're creating is the game. And while would it make it easier to lower the bar of entry? Yes, but there are other ways to get into 40K in general that are slower starts. You've got Kilton. For one, is another way. The other is
any of their other wonderful one-off games.
Well, the other is narrative campaigns, right, Joe? So you've got narrative campaigns up in Alaska. We have a separate group that uses some of the rule sets from ITC, normally the Secondaries, to kind of get you used to Secondaries from ITC, and then they play games at 1,500 points. Or 1250. They're more entry level. There's fewer points, so you have fewer models. They restrict how many, say, Lord of War that you can have, that type of thing. And so maybe it's just a conversation. If you're having troubles getting into the game, or feeling like it's too much, go talk to your local gaming store, local TOs, reach out to the community and see what they can possibly help you with.
Yep. So they're just tallying up the total scores. And keep in mind, the artwork and everything is beautiful with GW, and it is somebody's job to go through that. And Richard scored recon again.
Saint, that's a great question. So Saint is saying, I have played 2 IC tournaments at my local game shop and I have been getting destroyed. So I was looking at the mentorship program, but I was wondering how it works when you sign up. That's some really great questions. And Saint, if you can stick around after the game, I think I'm going to let Steven really answer that question the best. But I can tell you this. I was in your exact same position. I was going to RTTs and I was going to GTs. I am Jared Renlor Long. I am part of the Vanguard Tactics Mentorship Program, and it is worth it. It always is, always has been, and will be. In fact, I was part of a guinea pig program, that pilot program, and they've made it better. They've made it so that you don't have to join in and try to get caught up quickly. You get in, you get your access to your videos, access to the information right away at a metered progress. And I think I'm going to stop right there for now and let Steven come over, and Steven and I can talk to you guys a little bit more about that as somebody that's coming from the mentorship program as well as one of the coaches.
And if anybody's interested, we'll get Steven over here, and Jared and Steven will just talk about that entire process.
Definitely.
If you're interested, definitely stick around.
And if you guys are not sure what Saint's talking about, we're talking about the VanguardTactics.com. They provide a free ITC course that you can get on the mailing list. There's capability of getting emails from the team, so you're going to get emails about updates on the meta, information about Steven's lists and his progress, some information regarding how to be a better ITC player. But it also has that free ITC course, which is great. It gets you a good start to moving forward. And of course, from there, you can sign up for the Mentorship Program.
So again, unless you have amazing belief in your dice like Rich does, and you don't like your current set of dice, go to d6dice.com. I love them. I use them all the time. Unfortunately for Steven in this game, they're just letting them down. But they're still beautiful dice.
They still feel really great to roll. Those metal dice, they're
so nice.
Evenly weighted. They've got those rounded corners. They roll really well.
And I'm really good at getting them to stand up on their corners too. Really good at that.
But I think the best thing that I have is that normally you get these plastic dice and they have the protective coating on them that's a really super shiny, and it is super hard to read those pips in the lights that are in the convention halls.
And these dice, you can stand where Rich is standing. Steven hasn't moved rolling his dice. There's been no questions about what's being rolled.
Yeah, they are really great dice, and you can find them at die6.com. That is die6dice.com with the number 6, guys.
And he's got D12s, D6s, pips, numbers, basically whatever you want. If you want something else, definitely drop him a line. He'll see what he can do. I know I'm mostly responsible for this.
Wait, did the WA player just go for McCrag? What's going on?
I guess
okay. Did Marnius put his fist to work again?
Marnius told the war boss, you'll get it next time.
Go away, you space fungus. My goodness, 16 wounds coming in from Marnius Calgar. What a beast.
So back to my point on hand. I'm kind of responsible for D6 dice being a thing because I approached one of the store owners and said, "Hey, he got a butcher's bill. Way to go!" I went up to one of the store owners and said, "Hey, these dice, I just don't think they're rolling really well." He takes a look into it and is like, "Hey, this is what I've got. Let's take a look at these."
On top, and on the bottom I have.
So if you're Thurgood, if you're looking for a disparity of trying to find all the rules, one thing, there's a lot of these little supplements that give you the basic rules. If you buy one of their 2-player box sets, they give you the basic rules just to get started with. It gives you a great intro to the game, and plus you're getting a start on your collections. Unfortunately for that, there's not all the factions in that.
And there are other resources other than just your local gaming stores or GW stores for books and bottles even. You can often find people that are done with the hobby and find those. Again, but you can get those from your local gaming store, though, too. Maybe go in and ask, hey, does anybody have a second copy of something? Or can I borrow them and find out if I really want to spend that money to invest in that and get moving forward? I'm not going to lie. It really is plastic crack, guys. Like, this hobby is not cheap on your wallet or your budget, but what it does provide is a great venue. It's a great hobby. The people in the hobby are becoming better and better overall. In fact, Stephen Box has been a big proponent, especially recently, with a released video about being a good sport and playing true and sportsmanship in general, that it has spurred a major conversation in the current game and gaming systems across ITC, ETC, AMA, GW even.
Wants him as a consultant.
it's so important for this game to be understood as a game that is a gentleman's agreement between two people that are playing the game. And sportsmanship is that contract.
Yep. And as a TO, I start every tournament off. This is what I expect. Even if you're not planning on being a TO, you should watch his video on sportsmanship. As a TO, I learned lots about it just from my sense, because I have the store owners that are active. If I ever needed to yellow card somebody, up the support, and working bigger conventions, it's gonna be harder, but the more the community can learn and become better sports, you're gonna have two choices. You can not be a good sport and maybe not find games to play, or you can be a good sport and you'll always have a game to play. You can walk into the game store and people are like, I'll play.
And and not only that, but you're going to enjoy your hobby more when you're a good sportsman.
Absolutely. 'Cause you're always, and people are going to reciprocate the feelings that you give to them.
All right, guys. So we've got the boys coming over, and they're going to do a bat rep here. They're going to grab a camera down there. Come on over, Rich.
Look at that mug.
Yeah.
I can find Brian if you guys want to buy some. They'll be here tomorrow.
All right. Well, boys and girls, gents, what a game. My goodness. That was an absolute knockdown, drag-out game between Orks and Ultramarines, and two amazing players showing awesome sportsmanship.
Get that out of the way so I can show the orc face.
Oh man! Hey, one more. Give us. Yeah, awesome.
I gave him a Fort McCrag over there when he killed my war boss.
Calgar,
All right, boys.
Calgar
Give it to
did
us. Give it to us.
What a game!
It was a great game.
What a game! It's been an absolute
Oh,
pleasure.
buddy, you're a joy to play.
It's been
It was
a pleasure.
just a fun game, and I mean, it's great when you play somebody who knows the rules, and you both know the rules really well. And like, I've had some great games against some top players, and it's a joy because you're not trying to get gotcha moments or. Yeah, it's great.
And that's what it's all about, right? And like when I said, I forgot to declare I was going to go to tactical, you said you can. I said, no, don't worry about it. And then I was like saying, remember to re-roll your ones. And that's how it should be, guys. Like,
it's great.
You want to win because you're the best general, right?
That's absolutely right.
So
exactly.
You don't want gotcha hammer, like, and we had a good discussion about should I bring the suppressors in? Like, I sort of told you why. You said, you remember you can, and obviously it was coming from you as a remember you can do that. You didn't want me to forget.
Right.
And then I was like, you're right. But actually, looking at it,
it was probably smart not to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted you to show your hand with the loopers, you see. So that was kind of like the...
And I'm very aggressive. I probably should have just sat there in my bubble and just said... I mean, I would have just not given up points and just sat there and just scored points. But I have a hard time not orking.
Just
not just going in for the kill. You see that?
I do it all the time.
I
go, but I can charge. And it cost me a game. One of my first practice games against Marines, I had the game. I was like up by 4. I was sitting in a building, just sitting there going, come on. Come on. And then I go, but I can charge. And it cost me the game.
I love the first charge you made. 12.
By the war boss with the Killy Claw. He had to at least fight. Even though the shooting won the game for me, I had to fight something.
I mean, you only needed a 3, but you got a 12.
That's right. That's right.
So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. If you've got any questions in the chat,
I have to say, Stephen, I play a lot, and I feel like I'm a great player, but I learned from Stephen something that I didn't even think about, because I was going to take my 3rd shock attack gun. That's not my SoCal list. I think I'm going to make a couple of changes still. But he just said, why don't you take the 3rd shock attack as a Bad Moons? And I'm going, but a Death Skull's but wait, he goes, you can double shoot it. So if they get the looters, I could double shoot a shock attack gun.
Yeah.
If I really was up against a heavy night list or
Because you can obviously,
repulsors.
the Super Shocker, he's got the relic
From the
so he can double shoot.
from the Vigilance detachment.
Yeah, and
And
obviously
then Bad
Baboons,
Moon's infantry can double shoot.
We had a really good like I said at the start, I wanted to see what happens when I go second, and it might be playable if the first turn doesn't go as badly. Because like that shock attack gun there, although you rolled your strength 12, you didn't get any hits, right?
Right.
So if that's turn 1, and I'm still chilling with 3, because the looters don't do much against the repulsors.
I actually took the looters out for a test game and put in a Gorkanaut, thinking, well, it does something against repulsors.
Yeah.
Because I expected a lot of Iron Hands at SoCal.
Yeah.
I don't think as many Iron Hands will be at SoCal.
No.
So I go, the looters play against the Eldar, against the Flyers, against Dark Eldar.
Yeah.
So I put them back in, even though against the heavy tank list, they're not great.
Because you got, like, that's the thing, like, if that would have been that turn 1, and I've still got the 3 aggressors,
you pick up the boys.
I pick up the boys, and then I can use my Thunderfire to double tap on the looters because the grot shield's already
And
done.
kill a lot of
So there's some really, we had so many great sort of back and forths there, and honestly, it was an absolute pleasure. I'm sure you've never seen anyone trying to
re-rolling to try and fail. That was brilliant, actually.
So the reason why I tried to do that was because if another aggressor would have died, because you basically did 2 wounds to one guy, but you can still draw a line of sight to him. So when I want to fire again, or when you want to fire again, should I say, if I re-roll a pass into a fail, I lose 2 aggressors, keeping the other 3 aggressors alive. Because then they move forward and clear up all that big mob, right? And then it means all my suppressors can then clear off your looters rather than needing to fire into the boys to clear them.
So that is a great point, Stephen, too, because there are a lot of things that have the capability of firing twice or firing again.
Yeah.
And that again is determined again by the standard targeting rules, right? So they have to draw a line of sight, they have to draw a range. If you kill something and you pull the right models, they go to fire again and they're not a valid target anymore.
So I have to tell Steven the trick why my shock attack guns went so crazy. So because you're so amazing and you have this channel, I watched your video about coming here.
Okay.
And I actually pulled out my little shock attack gun and I said, "Do you hear him saying I don't need to practice against Orks?" Yeah. You said that. So I set them all on the computer and they watched you say, "I don't need to practice against Orks. I just clear Orks off the table." And my little guys went, "Okay,
we got
this."
I take it back. I mean, I don't need to play against. I don't need to play test that. You know.
Yeah. My goodness.
So anyway,
It was so fun. Thank you for having me on your stream. You're a joy.
hey, let's
My
do it
friend.
again.
Yes.
Let's do it again.
Excellent.
And I'm burning those dice of yours. Anyway, guys.
You're not the first one to want that.
Aren't they
No,
metal?
you know what's
How are
great?
they going to burn?
You know what's great? I was doing the app against one of my buddies, and I go, "I'm gonna roll well on your app." And on the app, it was like crazy. Just he's one, get away from me.
That last one though, where you had 21 shots, and on the first roll you got 10 6s out of 21 dice. It's incredible. That is a masterclass in itself.
So I was playing Pablo on the stream for Frontline, and this was in 7th edition. I had a Stompa, and he was trying to be nice because he had this nasty list, and he's going Orks, cute. And so Thomas told him, "Rich rolls hot." So I was playing him, and it has the D. So back then, Orks hit on 5s. So I hit on a 5, and then on a 6, you do a D hit. And so I only have 1 shot. So I hit, and I D'd out Gilliman. Gilliman dies, he comes back. A second round, I do it again. And the 3rd round, he came back again. The 3rd round, I go, "They're going to think these are bad dice. Let me use your dice, Pablo." I grabbed Pablo's dice, 6, 6, killed him again.
Incredible.
I believe I'm lucky.
My goodness. Again, for
But
Orks.
do you know what? Do you know what is good? Because you did roll well, but that doesn't take anything away from how well you played. You dominated the movement phase. You knew exactly where every single one of your grots was going to go to get, for example, like, we tried to get the bonus point, and I used that CP to clear them off, and you just played a perfect game. Like you moved the looters when you thought, actually, I can afford to lose them because I can start to use the firing lines, putting the jump boy over to get another firing line. Honestly, Rich, it was wonderful for me to watch because I can tell that you're a guy that's got so many repetitions in with their list.
Hundreds,
and if
thousands.
And if you're back home, don't think about just picking up the latest faddy army. No. Practice, practice, practice. Refine it. My list has gone through 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different iterations. Like taking out this unit, trying this one, the suppressors. Do you know what? I love the suppressors. They didn't do much today, but I really have got a lot of time for them. I can see a really good valuable play. You know, that putting another 3rd shock attack gun in, taking out the
smasher gun,
the 3 smashers, because as I said, they're easy kills, really, aren't they? And you want to prevent giving away kills.
And it's something for people's anti-tank to fire at.
Yeah.
And if I take them out, they shoot at grots.
Yeah.
So,
exactly.
Yeah.
For sure. Anyway, guys, we'll leave that there.
Thank you, guys.
And we'll see you potentially tomorrow for some more streams. I'm not sure exactly when I'm going to be streaming next, but we'll do what we can when we can. So make sure you subscribe and get that bell notification so that you never miss an update.
There was a question earlier, and the gentleman, Saint, was asking about what information is provided and how it happens with the mentorship.
Okay.
Did you want to speak to that at all real quick?
Yeah, so essentially the mentorship program is a year-long course. You get a webinar or online lecture every single week. It's taught by myself, and there are slides, there's a video that goes with that, and then also what I do is I go through all the phases of the game. We cover every single faction, and it's a real foundation knowledge of 40k. So even when the edition changes, when codexes are updated, all of those sections will be replaced. So let's say there's a new Dark Eldar Codex coming out.
Right.
I will do another video to replace all of that. So if you do the mentorship program, there'll be no more gotcha hammer because you'll know exactly what you're up against. You'll know what secondaries to pick against every single faction and what will be more likely in your favor. I help you develop your own list, how to refine it, how to play test, importantly, who you should be playing a test, why you should be playing against that type of person, and how ultimately you can become comfortable and confident at the table. So that's what the mentorship does, along with all the online support. We do a weekly list surgery. So in our Facebook group and community, you guys post your list. I'll give you feedback every single week on your lists. Any questions you have, they're all answers. So, you know, you're in at a tournament, you know, everyone else is playing, but you don't know that, you know, when you're playing and you submit, hey guys, I'm up against this next game, we're giving you coaching. So you're getting a coach alongside every single event you play at because we've got such a great supportive community. Guys like Jared here. So honestly, you won't regret it.
That is such a tool. At tournaments, I have a group of friends that I've met in playing in tournaments. And when I ended up against Jeff Robinson before he passed, I was freaking out. This is my first major final table. I'm going, I haven't played against like this particular list. I'm going to talk to my buddies, and I'm going, okay, calm me down, and talk through what I'm doing. I had it in here, but talking to somebody is really valuable.
And that's the other thing I do a lot of talking about is the tempo of the game, also having the right mindset, because like I came over earlier and said, look, my goal now is just to score points. Well, I knew at turn 2 it's gone downhill, maybe even turn 1, but you keep your composure.
Yes.
You don't get salty and tilted and off your game. Exactly, you know.
I was telling him from my experience. You know, I recently finally got a 3-2 at a tournament, and I lost my first 2 games, and only because of the discipline that I had learned through Vanguard Tactics and learning how to put a game aside, learn from it, and decide how to win my next game. Would I have ever been able to do that?
No, perfect. Right, guys, and if you do have any questions on the mentorship, feel free to email me. My email address on our website, so sign up for the ITC course. It's completely free anyway. Rich, thanks again, mate.
Pleasure, brother.
And thanks so much for coming tomorrow to teach on the masterclass. So we'll see you guys soon, and I'm hoping I don't play you at SoCal.
Ditto.
Take care, guys.